Max, I've been waiting 10 days for this. You see me rubbing my fingers like this? Because, I'm out of retirement, back in silly season, back in it fully, and I have some news that I'm going to talk about in this podcast. See, I see you already starting to defame me in your brain. I get it. It's all right, Max. I get it. Defeat is hard for many, and defeat was hard for you last year. And I think we should just hit that. Welcome to silly season, Will. It gets pretty rowdy in her, especially when people lose. Like that guy.
Dude, I don't think I've lost.
You know what?
I don't think I've lost.
You know what?
Is it weird you remind me of Mr. Burns?
Denial. Living in a false unicorn world. Anyway, you know what? Let's just get into it. Mr. Burns, let's get into it.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Nitro's glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. I even forgot. I'm so excited I forgot my intro. I'm so excited I forgot how to say my intro. That's what silly season does to me. Anyway, this is show number 299 of the No Name RC podcast. See, silly season got me all messed up. Just the thought of defeat, the thought of beating Max again has just got me so excited. Anyway, guys, show 299. If you're a patron, you're listening to this early. Thank you for all the support. I greatly appreciate it. We appreciate it as well. This is going to be released early for the patrons. You guys get to hear all the juicy stuff. We got Will, we got Max, we got me. This is show number 299 of the No Name RC podcast. And if you don't know me by now, I'm your host, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great. Do I remember my intro? We got humbled on Max over there. Not really humble, but humbled. And we got Will, who's about to be baptized in silly season. I'm going to talk about Euros as well. And all
this is more like anti-baptism, though. Like baptize, it's a symbol of cleanliness, and
Oh, are you trying to say
forgive?
Are we blaspheming? Are we
well, I don't know.
Already?
I don't know.
Is this today when I like meet the devil or something?
No. I mean, Keenan, like I think he has some radioactive waves. So I mean, he probably has a tinfoil hat on. But I feel like when he talks about silly season, I should have one too, because I think I get contaminated by his stuff. So, dude, I think like next time we come on here, Will's gonna be borderline in a mental asylum because of the silly season stuff. You're gonna infect him. Too much too soon. It's only one of his first podcasts with us, so and he's been already going for one.
He's done many. He's done a few podcasts. But you know what? Before we get into silly season, we're going to talk about Euros. And before that, I have to say thank you to these companies and these people that make it possible. First off, big shout out to the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do this without you guys' support. If you haven't gone over and click that like, sub, and notification button on our YouTube channel, please go over there and do that and follow us on all our socials. Also, a big shout out to the patrons and NNRC YouTube members. You guys will get early access of this and early access. You got early access of everything. As you can see, we're getting a little bit more active on the Patreon, trying to make it viable for everybody. We greatly appreciate your support. Go over there. Links for that in the written description. Go over there. Sign up. For the cost of a cup of coffee a month, for 1 cup of coffee per month, you can support the NNRC. A big shout out to our companies. We're restructuring. We're getting ready for 2025. We're doing some cool things. If you're a company, any company, and you think the podcast is a place you want to advertise in, get in contact with us. Small, big, medium, everything in between. We can accommodate you. We can do it.
Size doesn't matter, just the way to use it.
See, we're gonna delete that. We're gonna delete that. Max is in his comments. Anyway, we want to say a big thank you to these companies that support us. We have affiliate links, coupon codes, and all that stuff for them in the written description. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Corsa Deck USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Mayako Beach RC, Techno RC, KLINIK RC, Stacked RC, and Racecraft USA. In fact, 20% off at KLINIK RC right now for the month of October using the promo code NNRC. All right. You know what? We're getting straight into this. We do have some promo that we have to do and all that stuff. But you know what, Max, we don't have to catch up because we was just talking to each other. When this comes out in the future, we'll probably have to have a catch up later on. But welcome back, Will. Welcome back, Max. This podcast is going to be all about the 10 scale Euros. So a little bit of drama that it had, and then we're going to take a deep dive into the beginning of the 2024/25 silly season, which my silly season Spidey sense says it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Before we do that, though, I need to say a big shout out to Tony Newland for the KLINIK RC promo and all his support. Don't forget, support that again. Only going one. A lot of people ask me for discounts on KLINIK RC. Well, Tony finally gave us one, and he doesn't do that often, so take advantage of it. And a promo code NNRC. Also coming up in about a week's time, or this weekend as this comes out, will be the AZ Oktoberfest, which is being held in Maricopa, Arizona. Go check it out. The Nitro Compound. Probably one of the best tracks I've seen. I haven't been there yet, but I've seen it on pictures, and it's really awesome. Go check it out. Happening October 18th to the 20th. They're going to have big racers like Ryan Mayfield. I think Rivkin's going, FCJ, Frankie Contreras Jr., Spencer Heckert, and then a lot of the fast, intermediate, and semi-pro guys from California are going to go, so it should be a good one. And then don't go too far, because in November, coming up, if you're looking for a race, November 22nd to 23rd, you can go to the Outlaw Series at Proline. If you have not been to the Proline track, it's really nice. It's old school loose dirt type of Cali type of track that we saw back in the day. You know, she do really good designs, had good races there, was Levi Jackson back in the day. But you can check it out, and it's part of the Nitro Compound. They're a part of it. And check them out. The Outlaw Series happening the November 22nd to 23rd at the Proline track. All right, guys. So, Max, why don't let's go to our notes, because that's important. Yeah, man, Patreon-only podcast. Do you think people should definitely subscribe to the Patreon? The Patreon's been getting busy. I've been posting a lot of things in there. So here's how I'm trying to make the Patreon and YouTube. Basically, everything that you see on Facebook that I post, not everything, but like race, what's going, like I want the Patreon to be for patrons. Not only do you get early access, not only do you get early Patreon only pods, which we have to do, but you're going to get, like, if you want to see a race and you don't feel like fishing through Facebook, I'll probably put that link up there on the Patreon so you can look at it. So check it out. Patreon.com, links for that all in the written description of this podcast. And topics, like I said, silly season, which we're going in second, and then EFRA 10 scale EP OfRoad Euros, which happened September 23rd and 28th in Malmö, Sweden. All right. So, you know what? Before we do that, we got to pay some bills. And paying some bills is all about Invisible Speed. Make your speed visible with Invisible Speed. And guess what? Order your Invisible Speed setup tools, because I think once they're done, they're not going to have another order for quite some time. If you want to get some, you want to support Invisible Speed, check. You can do that, as well as sign up, buy the book, or join the course.
Stop scrolling, you nerd. Learn something new with Invisible Speed.
Are you the driver of this car?
Yes, sir. Why?
You just won a free alignment.
I had my car touched by JQ, and now I don't feel safe.
I can say that he did improve his time 10 seconds and his best lap.
Last question. Would you recommend the Invisible Speed course? Yeah, for sure. Spend your money. Good spend.
If you want to learn more and make your speed visible, stop scrolling.
That's right. Stop scrolling. Also, this race recap is brought to you by Corsa Tech USA. You can find everything that you need for your electric-powered and nitro-powered vehicles at Corsa Tech USA. This brand has been made by Adrian Bertin and Oscar Jensen. Links for that in the written description. Thank you, Corsa Tech, for your support. So, EFRA 10-scale EP Euros, electric-powered. So this is 10-scale European Championships, which is taking a bit of a shellacking over the last few years. We've had races that were supposed to be held, and then they got changed last minute. France, I think it was, when the Euros was supposed to be in, and they changed it last minute. Last year was a shellacking because of certain things that happened. It was on AstroTurf in Holland last year, and this year it got a little bit of a shellacking as well. Maybe not their fault, but there was some crazy stuff that happened at this race that we need to talk about. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the actual recap. And I guess some of our pre-race talking points was first indoor Euros on a carpet surface. So this was held in a facility that holds sporting events, like indoor sporting events and stuff like that. Beautiful.
Basically like I don't even know if Americans or other than the Nordic countries play this sport, but it's basically, like I don't even know what it's called in English.
Okay, how does it work? Tell us that.
So basically like hockey with a ball and no skates.
Oh, it's field hockey. Yeah, people play it.
Yeah, but it's not hockey. It's different. It has the ball is light and it's kind of like field hockey, but it's not.
Okay.
A lot of these halls are used for stuff like that, and obviously any other sport as well. But a lot are used in sport like
maybe
that.
Somebody from Sweden can let us know what sport this is, because Max doesn't know an answer to something.
Well, I don't know what it's called in English. That's the.
Oh, okay.
If it's what I think it is hockey. It's like the wooden stick and kind of like a plastic ball.
Floorball. Floorball is the name.
Oh, okay. So, all right, floorball. So, not okay. Whatever. Some sort of Nordic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful arena. Big. With it had it had places for people to sit and entertain and all this type of stuff. But let's talk about it. And I mean, also the drama that kind of came into this, because if I'm not mistaken, it was Jessica Paulsen's club that put this on.
Yeah, Furulund club organized this, which is led by the Paulsens.
Yes.
They kind of organize everything around the Furulund. So it's kind of hard to explain.
We covered this drama last year.
It's been going on for more than a year. It's kind of started off from Swedish nationals, went into the warm-up. There's a lot of stuff. And it ended up in a place where the Polsas are not running with the Swedish license anymore. They're actually running with the Polish license.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah,
very complicated, but...
Well, let's give a quick synopsis of what happened. So basically, at a Swedish Nationals, this was not held at this facility, but was held at their local... Was it held at a facility? No, it was held at a different facility.
It was basically the same area, and it was a temporary facility, but it was not like this place.
Right,
so
it wasn't like
it
this.
was like around the same area, but it was not this specific hall.
Right. So this is where... After I got accused of being bought too, by the way. This was this year, actually. I forgot. I thought it was last year. So this is where the drama happened. No, it was this year. Because it was X-Ray, remember? Ronald Fox with X-Ray, so it happened this year.
No, but he switched at the end of last year.
Yeah, but I think this happened this year. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's just give a quick synopsis. Will, you know about it too. So basically, we covered this on a podcast. I can't remember which number it was. Somebody, I'm sure, will let us know. But basically, the drama was about Ronald Falk and getting into Paulsen in A2. Then he kind of pulled over. The referee didn't say anything, if I remember correctly. And then they actually, after A3 was done, they went and protested it. And intermediately, the Swedish Federation gave the title, I think it was four-wheel drive or maybe two-wheel drive, to Jessica Paulsen. early to be stripped away from her later on. And that led to their split between the Paulsons and the Swedish. One of the things. I don't know if that's one of the main reasons, but I don't know the whole story about why they left. But that's it. One of the reasons. When that happened, they kind of said, okay, yeah, we're going to Poland. Because I believe her mom's from Poland or Polish.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were putting on this race. We'll get into more of that drama, but that's the drama leading into this. So just that you know, there's drama leading into this already. But anyway, a beautiful facility to have it. Will, what did you think of the facility? You didn't go this year. You said you weren't doing no carp. You're going to do some dirt racing this year.
Yeah, I kind of, because I'm a big fan of it, I do the EOS series and stuff. I kind of thought, there's going to be plenty of carpet racing. So, but I am going to Masters, but that's besides the point in this case. But I think like the facility itself was basically perfect. Like, when I understand, like the catering was like probably some of the best food you probably could ever get on an RC track. Like the pitting was fine. Like everyone, I think, got free parking, which I know that sounds like a simple thing to have, but like because it's in a sports stadium and within like a pretty like a big city, that's quite hard to come by normally. But like great internet and everything, and so facility wise, I think it was perfect. Like, I don't think you could have asked for much more. Like, I think a lot of the public could come in and see it, which was great. And I think there was actually a big sporting game on one of the days. Maybe Max will know better than I will. But from what I saw, I think there was some sort of football match or something.
No idea. I kind of was checked out of. Was I? Hold on. I think I kind of come home from Spain and I was done. I don't. It was the week after Spain. No, I was traveling. I was traveling.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay attention to it much. But I have to agree with you here, Max.
Yeah,
should we bring up a video? All right, you have some video.
Let's just take a look at the track, because like
just maximize that, Max.
Let's now we have the full picture of this. So there's essentially 3 jumps on this track. And a few little knobs, and I think this was the main gripe with this track, because there was a lot of negative feedback on the layout. Facility was great. We all know EOS carpet is good. We have good races at EOS, but it was underwhelming, to say the least.
Right. So I thought Powell was going to build this track. The guy who does the EOS tracks, he said he was going, or I figured he was going to do it, but he ended up not going. I have to say, it's a huge track. It's big. Look at, you can see there's room for people to sit and watch. There's a driver stand, but I will have to say, for European Championship, it was very flat, fast but flat.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, I don't mind tracks being flat in a sense. Like, I don't need jumps, but there isn't really any elements of this track that make it special. There's absolutely no sections where you can pass another car, which was proved by the mains, where almost every single passing attempt ended up in a takeout, and or the takeout of another driver, or takeout of themselves. And that's kind of result. This was super high speed, so very, it's not like it's an easy track to go fast on or anything like that. It's not. That's not the issue, but it not really 3D. It doesn't offer many cool elements or anything.
Right, because
it doesn't offer good racing either.
Well, I mean, because with carpet, you can make so much cool stuff, right? And do so many different variations of things. So I will say that I heard the same negative things about the track. And Will, it kind of looks like you made the right decision not to go, because you said it was, you said like a touring car track with a few jumps. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when I spoke to a few guys after the warm up, and I heard that they weren't going to make any more jumps or anything, so I kind of knew from that point it probably wasn't worth it. I know it sounds bad to be kind of digging on the club for it, but And I didn't go, so that's the other thing. But I really think, like, especially for European Championship, they really could have done with more jumps, because I heard a lot of guys as well, because the track was so flat, it kind of caused, let's say, some technical issues with some guys' cars.
Like what type of technical issues?
Well, I think a lot of cars were overheating, from what I heard, from what I heard, and batteries, because you're on power everywhere. There's a lot of batteries were starting to get pretty swollen up, and
because it's a big track, right? It was big. It had a long straightaway. Well, let's bring up a video of it.
Yeah, you can let's open up with tool drive. We can move into some racing. So, what Will's talking about is I heard from many people actually that it's not necessarily being on power that's the issue. It's the hard braking and acceleration, I think. And I'd even argue it's more so the braking, because it's not necessarily that efficient in the motors we have, the braking. The acceleration is rather efficient, but the braking is not. So that's where you end up heating up the electronics a lot. And when you have 180s full speed, 180 full speed again, you're going to end up overheating your stuff really quickly if you use a lot of brake. And some drivers, they don't use as much brake as the others. And then, they kind of benefit from that type of driving style. And others, I remember Wesley Van Helmond, he actually ended up leaving LRP because he literally couldn't get heat to run. He ended up overheating almost every single run. And he ended up leaving LRP after this Euros. He posted about it on his socials, and it is crazy how significant layout can be in that sense.
Well, not only that, but here you have a chance to put on a really cool layout with jumps. Because look, let's be honest, jumping and all that stuff is what gets people going in a crowd. And yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm looking at these jumps and they are just really just high speed. There's nothing ostentatious or no real risk in these jumps. Does that make sense? Besides that, you're going really fast over them. So the cars are look at this tabletop. It's barely getting any air. I mean, I have to concur with everybody's. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great. I like the fast racing, that pace that we got here. But I have to concur that, yeah, we need a little bit more jumps, or something that's jumps that's going to make you pucker up or think about it before you do it if you mess up.
It doesn't necessarily need to be jumps, but even
obstacles,
some elevation. For example, the Florida Carpet Championships, they do these step ups, and they do these camber turns, they do hip jumps, stuff like that. Even that makes it so much more exciting. And those tracks at the Florida Carpet Championships are incredibly what's the word? It looks cool. You get a wow effect. But here it's kind of you have carpet and a few, I don't even know what they used for the track fencing. It's wood or something, but it doesn't even look cool. That's what we were talking about in the previous podcast about the track in Australia. It looks spectacular.
No banners. No dressing up of the track whatsoever.
Yeah, that is true too. They have painted or colored infields, but it's still everything is there's no curbs anywhere. You have a few of those dots. It just doesn't look spectacular. It looks like it was built for this event and built with minimal resources. And it's unfortunate because I know the club must have put amazing effort for this.
Oh yeah, I'm not disputing that they did it.
So I think it's just you don't think broad enough. I think it's just sort of an attitude thing more so than the work thing. So I think they have worked hard, they have done their best, but I think they couldn't. They should have thought maybe a little bit different, not necessarily bigger, even just a little bit different to make it look more presentable.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I tuned in while I was calling the race, and I was there's all those little walls could have been decorated with banners, all that infield could have banners, all that type of stuff. We want to make this a big deal. This is the European Championships. Like this is the epitome.
Yeah.
And then we just talked about in the last podcast the showmanship at Buggyland, right? And how it looked great with the banners and the flags. And we saw it at the Worlds about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, with the showmanship. And that's important, right? That is important when you're putting on a race of this caliber, right? So I have to give them. I actually concur with everybody that I think that the track was underwhelming, and it's no disrespect to the club that put it in. I'm sure they put in a lot of work to make it and they're organizing all that stuff. But the track is what makes the race, right? You got to have at these races you got to have an exciting race. You got to have an exciting track, a challenging track. This is the European Championships. You're coming here to be challenged, and I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel it.
Yeah, and one thing to say, like from RCGP, because as a driver already, like I've been to EOS, I've been to a lot of races around the world, including the 10 scale Euros, and I do have to say the most underwhelming thing as a driver is to go drive a 10 scale European Championships. As everyone is dead silent, the only thing you hear is the monotone automatic messages from IRCM that say 2 minutes to go and so on. And there's absolutely no banners, nothing cool around the track. You're running on an 8 scale track that's shortened for 10 scale cars, or some like random like puzzle piece, wrongly built puzzle piece like AstroTurf track, where you don't really even know where the track goes because the pipes are put somewhere just to point it out. No like separate infields, no cool elevation. It is underwhelming. Even Hoodie Arena, in a sense, although that's one of the best ones, there really wasn't anything sort of spectacular about it. It's all very monotone. Jumps are kind of mild and low. Like from recent memory, the only time where I felt 10 scale Euros look cool was in Reims, but there was all kinds of other issues there that kind of ruined that event for other people. For 8 scale Euros, a lot of times it is different. They understand it. And RCGP, that was the time where I realized how much it affects you as a driver. Because you come down like a section where there's, first of all, people watching, they're cheering for you, they have horns or something. You have flags all across the track, you have banners everywhere. Like that atmosphere you have, it's incredible. As a driver as well, you feel like you're actually at a big event. You're at a race, you're doing this and it looks cool and you feel like it's something. But when you're just running silently and listening to IRCM, you could as well be home on your computer. It's boring. It doesn't have any soul to it. And I think that's something
Max,
we miss a lot, especially in 10 scale, but in the European RC scene a lot. It happens in America too, but I feel especially in Europe and 10 scale, that's sort of the thing that goes there.
Okay, Mac. Will, what do you think about that?
Well, I definitely agree for sure with the commentating side. Like, I feel like it kind of makes you appreciate when you go to big events where you have like Scotty or something, like how much like just the atmosphere changes and it really excites you for the finals. Where like, it's that last minute and like the commentator starts to like really amp up and like make it seem like, something's really happening. So I definitely agree with the commentating side there for sure. Like, I've definitely seen it happen in the last few Euros, and it was something I was saying to you at Buggyland as well. I felt like that was kind of missing as well. But yeah, I definitely agree with everything you guys said as well. The one thing I'm quite surprised with, because like the problem I think I see is here, and I'm really sorry that I sound like I'm bashing on the track because it was a good event from what I heard, but like it was the same as the warm up. And the warm up, a lot of people like were a bit concerned about the lack of jumps and how the track not layout, but I guess more the jumps. And I kind of thought you would have kind of expected maybe we would have adjusted that. So I'm not sure what kind of happened there. Or maybe just it was just initially can get more jumps, or maybe someone just wanted to keep it like this. I have no idea, but I was just a bit surprised when I heard after the warm up they wasn't really going to change it much, at least from the sources I heard. So that's kind of the thing I'm a bit surprised about.
Yeah, I'd have to agree if they're. Yeah, I have to agree.
Can I complete? Because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I said all those things, but they would apply for the time that I have been in RC. You know, like all of those things I said, they apply to the whole time I've been in RC for 10 scale. Like it wasn't that this Euros missed the mark, but I think the fact that even the track was a bit underwhelming, but then the facility was so great, I think it sort of brought right in front of our eyes how silly it all looks. Like they put so much effort into it, but it doesn't still make it feel special.
Well,
you still need to have something else, you know.
And then the opportunity to present this to new people, right? And people that can come in and sit down, and no one's going to sit there and hear 2.6 seconds or 23. You know, no one's heard my RCM. When I think of something, I think of the British GP or the MKGP. You got Scotty in there, and it's you know, those guys get it. They got the banners up. It's presentable. It's in a shopping mall. You got Scotty, who's loud and bellowing out an American accent in a British mall. And this was one of the complaints from the 10 scale Euros last year, was the commentating and lack of excitement. And it seems like 10 scale in like you said, 10 scale in Europe doesn't seem to want to come into times, right? They still want to hold on to that time in the 80s when, you know, you could barely do 4 minutes. And they need to have a revamp of the EFRA 10 scale. In my opinion, a revamp of the EFRA 10 scale. Well, especially after the decision that was made to one of the races here, which we're going to talk about. But yeah, I would agree. I don't want to go on bashing the track. I agree with what you said, Max. I agree with what you said, Will. And I think the majority of people out there agree with us too that go to these events. But as in typical European events, unlike the American nationals where they have two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, they actually do the first leg of two-wheel drive, which went from, I think, Monday to Wednesday. Then they made some slight changes to the track. And then did they make any changes to the track at all?
They changed it a bit.
Let's see.
They changed on the left-hand side mainly at the end of the straight.
It was basically two sections. So after the back straight, you go 90, and then you have a 180 after the 90, instead of having a sort of a 180 at the end of the straight, or like a opened up 180. So it's only one section of the track change. Everything else stayed the same. So a very minor change in that sense. They actually, a slight correction. They did tighten up that one chicane before the finish line.
Okay. Oh, I like that they were getting better camera angles here. But yeah, that's how it works. And then the race goes on. Do we have a replay? Let's see. Coverage courtesy of RC Racing TV. You know what I noticed? They actually got more sponsors for this than they did the World Championships. I think that's crazy. The World
Championships is interesting. I don't know why that is, but
the World Championships was watched by like thousands and thousands of people. I'm not saying that this wasn't, but there you can see the slight change in the track. Let's get back. All right. So moving on, let's get into some of the racing. So we're going to start with two-wheel drive. We're going to go through this real quickly because we're not trying to be too long on her. Practice, you have Orlowski, Kobovic, and Hotman. So Orlowski was fast from day one. No surprise with Orlowski being fast from day one with the Schumacher.
Yeah, Schumacher was definitely the class of the field from the start to the finish, pretty much in two-wheel drive. So although here, you know, you have A teams started strong, Hartonen, London, and Karup all were really good. But then they kind of mellowed out a bit, and it was only Kobovic and Orlowski from there on. Because you had something to say, Keenan? I feel like you're
Alex Landon. Is he Swedish or is he?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was the other kid from, but he ran actually. Maybe I got his name confused. He was at Carpet Champs too. All right. Well, Will, anything to add to practice before we move into qualifying?
Not really a whole lot. I definitely think the Schumacher car was probably the car to have there. I mean, there's no shock that on EOS carpet, it feels like it's just a game at the moment of just who can get the most steering in their car. Like I spoke to the halls and a few guys who were there, and normally like they have a new tire which is a splinter, and a lot of us are putting sidewall glue on that, or like running. There's a fusion tire where like we're basically gluing it down, but you also put glue on the sidewall. And normally anywhere else, if you don't put that glue on, it's basically like impossible to drive. But apparently this track, everyone just wasn't even gluing because it was just a hunt for trying to get steering. And I kind of feel like it gets to a point on carpet where, because you're just trying to get so much steering to the car, that you make it so hard to drive, and then it just becomes a battle of who doesn't crash for 5 minutes. That's the only kind of thing I feel like with carpet. I think that's just more of a general carpet thing more than anything, not so much the Euros. I think that's just my opinion on it.
Okay. So Max, we get into qualifying. It's Arlovsky, Kobovic, and Karup. Fucking Karup's so good. Arlovsky dominated, but Kobovic was not far off. And then we had our first piece of drama with Tiregate 3.0. We're calling this, I guess.
I don't know. I guess it really never gated. So it's more like, what would you call it? Tire fence.
Well, because I was hoping you had the picture where they actually had the gray tire and the.
I do.
But you have
here.
All right,
I do have it here. Let me bring it up for you guys.
Well, Will, I'm going to ask you. So we saw Martin Beyer was the first one to complain about this. It seemed like the X-Ray guys got these dull gray tires compared to these shiny tires. If I'm not mistaken, these are J Concepts tires or Schumacher tires?
Oh, Schumacher.
Okay, so this was the spec tire. And the Schumacher guys apparently got these nice shiny ones, and the X-Ray guys got these gray dull ones. I don't know if this makes a difference, or is it just placebo? Is it a mental thing to these guys? Is it like, are these guys trying to fuck with us? Because let's be honest, the organizers, I mean, we all know that Schumacher and X-Ray do not like each other, right? As companies, and they are highly competitive. We also know that the organizers of this event, Jessica Paulson and her family, are Schumacher drivers. So maybe a little mind games going on with the X-Ray guys here, or what do you think?
I mean, being honest, I've raced on these tires for years and probably bought thousands of the things at this point. I've personally never really noticed at least like a crazy difference really at all. And there is, it's probably just for a lap or two. Like it's just a release agent. That's all it is, basically. It's just when the tire is just in the bag for a prolonged period of time. But like from my side, it's never really been an issue. I know at this Euros, even though it's EOS carpet, it felt, a lot of people were saying the feel was quite a bit different. So I don't know, maybe because of that.
Really? So did people?
Yeah.
Did people complain about a difference in these tires? Was there a legitimate complaint?
Personally, from like my side, I'm not sure, but I mean, generally, there's not really. There shouldn't be much of a difference because it's just a release agent. It's nothing.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
after a lap or two, it's gone. So
yeah, the thing. Okay, so there's kind of two sides to this. One is the fact that, this sort of white or grayish color can form for two different reasons. One is it stays for long enough in the bag where it starts to go bad. Like it starts to oxidize the release agent. Or the other one is the bag just as a whole, and the air gets to it and it oxidizes the release agent. So it could be that these are from the same batch. These are as new as the other one, but the bag just had a hole, and that's why they're gray. But a lot of the times, the older batches, so like if you have it for a long period of time, it starts to naturally, in the bag that's sealed, turn gray. And maybe that's because it's not perfectly vacuum sealed, those bags. So some air gets in and it like slightly oxidizes it. But on track, like Will said, that really isn't major difference. But what is a difference is different batches. So we have had before tires here in Finland where between like a early year round of tires and like late year round of tires, they are different because different batches, they have some difference in them. Not major, but they have some differences in them. And for us, it was very apparent because we wasn't actually running on carpet. We were using these tires on tile floors. And so there, the compound is the determining factor, not necessarily the stiffness of the pin or whatever. So the sort of stickiness of the compound is the determining factor. And I think for Euros, you kind of want to make sure that there isn't an obvious thing like this, because it wasn't only Bayer who complained about this. Bruno complained about this.
I'm telling you,
a
the
lot
X-ray guys.
a lot of the X-ray guys said specifically that they got these great tires.
I like my theory better.
And then, you know, Schumacher guys didn't have these.
I like my theory better.
At the end of the day, probably doesn't make any difference. Because after you run them, the gray goes away. So it's
I
not
agree.
like it stays
I
on
agree.
the top.
But I think it plays mind games on you. Like they're out to get me.
I mean, the thing is, the tires were sold by the Paulson's own company, Micro Racing. I'm pretty sure. So they was the ones who sold the tires. So they basically could do that.
Exactly. So it sounds like I'm correct once again. Tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, but something I think the thing with this is it's pointless to have, like, because if it was that all the X-ray guys got tires like this, everybody knows it doesn't really make a difference. But the person who did that decision of giving these better looking tires to these others and the worst looking tires to others, it's stupid and pointless. It doesn't make a difference, but it leaves the optics of there is a difference.
Absolutely.
I think
The
that's
illusion. The illusion.
Yeah.
The illusion. All right.
But that was actually not that big of a drama. The big drama was that these guys, you know, they did Q1, they did Q2, and they did Q3, and they was like, okay, day's done. British team manager makes a protest, if I'm not totally wrong, and wrong starting order. So they ran the Q3 round, the whole round of Q3, but they started in the wrong order according to the rules. They didn't start the according order, so they had to rerun the whole fucking round. Like, how does that happen in this level? Like, I feel one thing. I feel like this has happened before, but nobody just protested it. So
whose fault was this? Was it a my RCM thing? Was it a timekeeper thing? RD thing? What was it?
I'd say, like, okay, I don't know whose issue it is, but it's basically just you click a dot on my RCM on what determines the starting order. So it's basically then falls on the timekeeper to have the wrong setup on my RCM.
Okay.
But I don't know. Do you have any insight on this, Will? I think you can talk with guys about this over there.
I do. Someone did tell me a while ago, and I probably am not just saying this, but like I genuinely can't remember. I think it must have affected someone to run maybe in the UK team. I might be wrong with that, or something happened with one of the UK drivers, and then I think it was pointed out when they looked at it later that it was like they wasn't following the rules, and our UK team manager like put it forwards. And I mean, to be honest, if it's a rule, it's a rule. Like, so I kind of get it, but just being truthful, I can't actually remember what the issue was, but whether it was like someone just had a bad run, or if it like because the starting order caused an accident. But I guess you could argue you're spending all that money to go to the Euros, and let's say you did good in Q1, and then you're about to start in Q2 expecting to go first or second or whatever, and then the order changes, and because it changes, you crash. You know, you only have like 2 from 5, you know, to try and get a good qualifier. So you could argue that it's a valid point, to be fair, but I guess it was just an oversight from, I'm assuming, the timekeeper's side or the race director or whoever set it up. But yeah, I think like you would like to think it would kind of be sorted, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I would have to say that. You also have during Q5, some racer had their shock leak silicone oil on the track, and lap times dropped significantly.
Yeah.
No way. How much oil did he drop on the track?
No, but here's the thing. It doesn't need to be a lot. It's just I remember this once at a home track. Some guy landed a jump badly and broke the shock cap, the plastic shock cap. So he broke it. and it spilled on this one corner, and
it
it
just
was
goes.
insane for the next like day or so. That corner was so slippery, you just couldn't get around the corner. We tried to clean it and everything, but it just so slippery. So if you have a shock, like seal broke or something, or shock bottom come loose, you leak that oil all across the track, and it's incredibly slippery. It's insane how slippery it is. And I think they was running more than a second slower per lap for A1.
Wow.
So it was like the track completely changed. You know, it was like rain in the outdoor terms, you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we've had it happen to a lot of our local tracks here, where someone just, you know, the lower heat guys or even whatever, like they crash and then the shock leaks, like, and I'd almost go as far like it just don't say ruins the carpet, but it definitely kind of, you notice it for a while, like even more than like one race, because there's nothing, like the oil just sticks there, so there's nothing.
Wow. I guess it goes nowhere, right?
Yeah, it goes nowhere. So
crazy. I never even would have thought of that.
Yeah,
maybe that's why I sucked at my last carpet race. Somebody's oil made me.
Yeah, it only affected your car.
Yeah, only mine. Only mine. That's what Danny Paz did to cheat against me. So we had Orlowski, Karap, and Kobovic was your top three, but you say Orlowski won confidently, but Karap, who's I'm starting to really like Karap more and more.
I think the thing is, Orlowski is probably one of the most talented drivers out
in the
there
world.
In the world, over like a few laps. But the issue with Orlowski is like he's low performance under pressure, and I think that was very apparent again in A2, where Karab just started to push like crazy, and it actually looked tight for a while. Luckily for Orlowski, this track is impossible to pass on, so he's kind of just had to keep it on its wheels. But it is interesting because last year Orlowski would have won the two-wheel drive, but he crashed from the lead, although he just would have had to finish to get a better time. But he crashed from the lead and lost like a second or so and ended up losing the title to Karab. So this year he confidently won it, no doubt about it. But it was A2 was close, like a bit too close for comfort for Orlowski, and I think that's his like biggest downside is when he's put under pressure, he does seem to crumble a bit.
Well, I've seen him on the lot of press at Carpet Champs. He's been there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he has like not always. I'm not saying not always, but it's his like weakness. Let's say like some drivers, you know, they kind of can turn a difficult situation to their benefit, like Mayfield or Reinhard, you know. But then there's guys like I feel Orlowski and Fend who are extremely fast, but then they kind of, when they're put under pressure, they do make those costly mistakes. But here Orlowski was like dominant, so dominant that he didn't really have to ever worry about that. But there was a time in A2 where I thought like, okay, this could come close, but it never really materialized.
All right. What about you, Will? Your thoughts on the finishing on the top three?
Yeah, I mean, I know for Michael, he's always been so close to winning a two-wheel drive title, like so painfully close, and then just whatever happens, like just something happens or whatever. So I think, to be fair, like I'm really happy for him that he managed to finally clinch it in two-wheel drive. Like I think it's truly well deserved, to be honest. But yeah, definitely thinking A2, like he got, I think towards the end, I don't know if he just he's trying not to crash or maybe the nerves got to him a bit. But I also think, you know, the shock oil definitely played a part on the track, because in qualifying, you know, he's so used to that, like a car being so consistent and being gripped to the track, but especially with the shock oil, where it kind of changed things a bit. I was watching actually the video yesterday. You can kind of see the cars, some of the 180s. It look like it's almost like kind of coming out squirrely in some of the corners. The car was, sorry. So I think that was a big factor as well. And I think, you know, you can't lie and say that when a track changed like that, it's not going to affect you when you're driving.
Yeah, I would have to agree. But now it makes sense because it mixes with that. The carpet's like plastic. You put oil on top of that, it's just going to be slippery as fuck. So it makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's go through the order real quick. Okay, go ahead, Max.
The Schumacher tires are like plastic too.
So we had Orlowski taking the win. Marcus Karup, Daniel Kobovic. I think he's underrated. Like, this guy's good. Like, he's really good. I've watched him at Carpet Champs. He's like fucking awesome in this. Ben Smith, he is emerging as, I think, like the new top UK 10 scale driver. We thought it was going to be Tommy Hall, but looks like Ben Smith.
He's good in UK. I don't know what's wrong with the Halls, but it seems like as soon as they leave the great island of the United Kingdoms, they seem to struggle a lot. So I don't know if it's like they need the presence of the king, or what it is. But like they do seem to struggle when they leave that island. I don't know why.
We'll come back to Ben Smith. I just want to go through the order. Yuna Hotman, great run for Yuna. Man, I hope he comes to Carpet Champs. Bruno Coelho, 6th, not happy about that. Runoff Oak, 7th, not happy about that. So that's X-Ray, Bartos, Zalowski, 8th. I think he's okay with that. Jessica Paulson, 9th. And I don't know what Dominic Vlasic runs, but he finished.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to mention him.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Some random guy from Czech Republic running S-Works. I've never seen him make any big mains at EOS or anything. Maybe he has some on some smaller events. Meebo Cup, he's been fast against Gutzel and these guys. But kind of comes out of nowhere. Does practice a lot on carpet because they run in like the Poland and Slovakia and Czech Republic. They run on EOS carpet a lot. So obviously has some practice, but incredible performance for him. It's kind of within the top 10 all throughout Tour Drive. So a big shout out to him.
What does Ben Smith drive, Will?
He's a Schumacher.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about him real quick and your thoughts on the Hall brothers, because I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I know both of them really well, so I can definitely shed some light. But I think that Ben Smith is, ever since the LD3 came out, it definitely seems like that car's just really suited him a lot more. I'm sure someone told me at some point the changes they made to that car, but it just seemed like the cars is a bit easier to drive. They kind of fix some of the issues they were having a bit, because a lot of what I noticed with the Schumacher car is if you're a really smooth driver, it tends to suit those kind of drivers a bit more. But I think obviously Schumacher trying to move more towards to making it a bit easier to drive and kind of better, more consistent on all surfaces. Not saying it's not, but just that's what I got told they're trying to do. And it seems like it's going that way. So like someone like Ben now, where I think he's been able to have a car that's a bit more easy to drive, and it's really starting to benefit him. And I think the Halls, the Halls are still, I feel like they're doing really good in the national season for both of those guys.
Yes.
The Halls and the Ben Smith, they actually both won national events this year. But I definitely think one of the big issues when going abroad is just we haven't got the same competition. Like we just at least in Europe, you have Moby Sport Cups, you have the X-Ray Hoodie Arena Series, where like a lot of those Nordic guys and well, maybe not Nordic guys, but the mainland European guys, they can like race against Bruno, they can race against like Mika Vidmaier and so on quite regularly, but we don't get that. And I also think our tracks in the UK aren't the same. We run our tracks, at least last year, we haven't got the same kind of jumps. They're a lot smaller just because we can't find the venues. So I think when we go to these tracks in Europe, we do struggle a bit. I mean, but saying that, I know Tommy made both A-mains this year at EOS, but it just seemed like the Euros was just a bit of a struggle. But I think coming back to the Euros, obviously that I don't want to open that can of worms again. But that was predominantly, I guess let's just say that was a bit of a more unique event.
Oh, you mean Robin Hood?
No. I mean, as in like the Euros this year in Sweden.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is true. Sort of it wasn't the typical, carpet track. Let's put it that way.
Well, I was thinking, because if you go back to, what was it, 2022? Was it 22?
Yeah.
And we had that, which was probably the last. I really enjoyed that Euros, by the way. We saw the emergence of Carrot. We saw the, obviously emergence of Tommy Hall and his brothers and all that stuff. But it seems like Carrot is the one that's excelled since then, and he's now a 2-time European champion. He was fucking in the fucking main at the World, sir. You know what? The Hall's got to run more nitro. That's what it is. Got it. I figured it out.
No, but I think that is partly true, partly not true, partly true. That the Halls are rather one-sided. They do really well when it's Astro. They do decently well when it's Carpet. But Kara, he is sort of the only one from that 2022 era who is able to keep it up, Pekka was good in 2022, but since then he's kind of not been anywhere near Indian scale. Jona has been good all along, like for a while now. And Noah Ben Mohammed, he made the top 5 in 2022. He's kind of been close, but never at that level. Hall, rather a similar story. I guess Ben Smith, he's kind of seeming to be an outlier of the rich, that he's seeming to be on the up and up no matter where he goes. Whereas the Halls kind of, they excel in the UK, but where they know, but
right,
they kind of don't have the versatility as much.
How old is Ben Smith, Will?
I think he's either 17 or 18. I know he just passed his driving test.
Okay, so he's still young to an extent. All right. So congratulations to Orlowski. He wins this. Is this his first 2-wheel drive title? He's won 4-wheel drive before, right?
He's won, 4-wheel drive. I think he's won twice.
Okay.
Yeah, and then 2-wheel drive. This is first.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to move into 4-wheel drive. And thank you, Techno RC, for all your support.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance 8-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
All right, so thank you, Techno, for all your support. So we move on to 4-wheel drive, which started on the Wednesday. Practice, Coelho, Karp, and Zawalski is fast. Zawalski is a young Polish racer who's been very fast. I was very upset he didn't make it to the World Championships, but I understand, with these being back-to-back. Coelho dominated, and then we'll just go right into qualifying. Coelho and Orlowski and Mika Widemeyer. Dude. Mika's good in 4-wheel drive at these races on carpet.
Yeah, it seems like for him, it always seems like the better class. He's been good in 2-wheel drive a few times, but 4-wheel drive, he's kind of seems to step it up every time. And I don't know if necessarily it's the car, but I feel like that for him, it's just the class. 4-wheel drive suits him better.
I mean, that's a good result for him. And then let's go into I want to talk about the racing, and then we can get into the drama, because I think we're going to talk a lot about that drama that happened in this side of the racing. So qualifying, you have Coelho dominated and Orlowski comfortably in second. And then we move on to the mains. It was like domination by Coelho, because he got this in A2. He got this in 2 mains, 2 finals.
Yeah, and I think
he dominated
all rounds of qualifying too. So
at one point, I thought Orlowski was going to catch him in A2, because Orlowski seems to be able to just push when he needs to. But he actually crashed. And a little bit of revenge, because at the Carpet Champs last year, it came down to a shootout between him and Coelho. But the 2 top, I would say, carpet racers out there in Europe and probably in the world. No surprise, Coelho takes 4-wheel drive. I think he took 4-wheel drive at Carpet Champs too. And if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
But nothing too crazy in this. But a few takeouts in A3. I'll let you guys have a quick your thoughts on that, and then I really want to move on to the drama with Noah Ben Mohammed. Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, I think it's again. I feel like I'm all the time just complaining, but the thing is, after 2-wheel drive ended, and I watched a few rounds of 4-wheel drive. it to me, it's like I've never liked to drive four-wheel drive on carpet, but it's sometimes it's all right when your car works. It's okay, but especially on tracks like this one was, I feel like the four-wheel drive. It's just like I don't. It doesn't feel like those cars want to be driven on carpet. To me, it feels like weird class. On Astro, they're fun. On dirt, they're fun, but on carpet, it seems so unnatural. You know, the four-wheel drive is so unnatural on carpet that there was a time when Yokomo actually ran their four-wheel drive as two-wheel drives. They had the front diff in, but they didn't have it connected. So the front diff was basically just
a spool.
Like it was not a spool. They didn't have gears in it, so they just locked. It was basically like a free. They had oil in it, but it when you pressed throttle and held the front tires, like they would just hold still. It wouldn't work as a diff at all. So that's how like pointless four-wheel drive can be.
Right. So basically, they entered a four-wheel drive car, but they took away the four-wheel drive ability. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it was basically a rear-wheel drive car. Yeah, it was basically a rear-wheel drive car. They did have all the drive shafts and so on in place, but essentially all the drive was coming from the rear tires. And I think that still, to some extent, is true in four-wheel drive on carpet like this. And I don't know. I just never really got the feel of it. And watching it here, that became very annoyingly apparent because this was sort of the worst way. Like Carpet Champs four-wheel drive was nice because you could actually move the car in the air and play with it. But here it was, I don't know.
Let's go on to Will.
It wasn't fun to watch. The racing wasn't good. Coyle dominated, and all the racing ended up in takeouts. And that's sort of my synopsis of four-wheel drive. So, Will, can you please say something positive?
It's not going to sound any more positive.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I didn't pay too much attention to four-wheel drive after I saw Bruno basically cleared up. But I mean, I know it's a bit of the UK guys will definitely like probably laugh at this right now. But like, I mean, I've never personally been the biggest fan of four-wheel on carpet. Like, I just think I think it's just you have to run some crazy setups, and the cars feel like they're so difficult to drive, and like you're running like 10 mil ride height. But like Max says, like when it's good, like it's all right. Like you can actually get by. And I think now that most companies have like a decoupled slipper, like the AE does, and the associated the AE, X-Ray, and Schumacher, it does help. I think it's starting to get better, but I just, at least before that, I just felt like, even I guess especially with the Euros, I guess looked like it didn't look fun like to drive, in my opinion.
I have a question, because you would think, all right, so I've never driven four-wheel drive on carpet, but even when I was in the UK, you know, two-wheel drive was dominant, right? It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Will, explain to me why, because you would think it's four-wheel drive would be faster, right? But why? What is the issue?
Because with the four wheels, there's this fine line of like when you get traction roll, or the car has too much steering, or like, you know, basically kind of an abundance of that. While two-wheel drive, because we have naturally like thinner tires in the front, it's just easier to drive. It's more simple. You haven't got the headache. It's not as flippy. So
it's really twitchy to drive. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it's I'll definitely say it's twitchier. I mean, like obviously when you have to set up, it's fine. It's obviously fine. You can drive it, but it gets a while to kind of get to that setup. And I definitely feel it's more finer to get that. The setup window just seems smaller. But two-wheel drive, especially that the like four-wheel drive, the tires are still as thick as like, let's say, a dirt tire. While like two-wheel drive, like, you know, there are obviously like you have obviously the thicker dirt tires that you'd normally run, but like on Astro, they've actually on carpet we have these thinner tires now, because we know there's way too much steering. So that's why I feel like just two-wheel drive is more, you know, it's more simpler, less maintenance as well. It's just simpler and cheaper because the kits are generally cheaper.
Well, we're not going to go too crazy. Like you said, Coelho won it. Orlovsky was second. Widdemeyer was third. Ronnefalk fourth. Karup fifth. Una sixth. So good weekend for Una. Maybe, he wants a podium. Kobovic seventh. Bartos eighth. Pecco in ninth. Good weekend for Pecco, making it. And Elias Johnson, another Swedish guy. Is he the one who's yes, he is the one who's also embroiled in this controversy. But we have Alexander Lander, Noah Ben Mohammed, Hampusberg. Hampusberg was, you know what? I'm going to say this. Look. We need to figure out how the fuck to do bump ups in electric. Please. Fuck me. It will make things so much more fucking exciting. Like, I would become IFMAR president just to change that rule. I'd be like, president. I don't care. Yeah, we already started. I would be like, I'm coming into IFMAR just to change this rule and leave. Fuck me. Can we fucking get bump ups? Jesus. Fuck.
It's
so fucking, it's frustrating. It is fucking frustrating. We have 10 people. We can have fucking 50. That track could have held 15 8-scale cars. We could have had 15 people. And we could have 50% of the B-man in there. But fuck me. Can we have fucking bump ups? We can still have triple fucking A-mains. It's a simple fucking answer to this. Have a fucking LCQ and let these guys race it out. Right? Like they did at the Euros. Was it the Euros or whatever race they did it at?
E-Buggy Euros.
Can we fucking do that? Rant over. All right.
Keenan, I think the rant has not been over all this podcast. I feel like I've been just ranting about 10 scale sucking, and it feels so bad. It's like even the guy who absolutely loves 10 scale and it should be our 10 scale representative on this podcast.
He's agreed with everything you said.
He's agreed with everything.
I know. I feel really bad because all I've been doing is just slating, and obviously
this is where we start to change.
And I race 4-wheel, and I'm here just basically complaining about it. But
here's where we start. We want bump ups and more cars in the final because the other mains don't mean nothing, right? And I would just like maybe the LCQ, maybe you have an LCQ and 3 of that go through, right? Let's have it. It makes LCQ the most exciting race in RC. All right. Congratulations to everybody who made this podium and all this stuff. But there was some major drama in qualifying, which involved a young French driver, Noah Ben Mohammed, who we thought he would retire, but he didn't because it was hacked or something like that. But he didn't retire. He finished third. He
wasn't hacked, but yeah, I think it was just
a joke.
It wasn't a joke. I think it was a rush decision, so to speak.
Okay. So let's talk about this. So this was utterly ridiculous. This goes back. Look, you know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna fucking rant about this because it goes back to the same bullshit about. No offense, Will. The 10 scale guys not wanting to come out of the fucking 80s, right? Charge up your Nikeheads and let's do 4 minutes and be quiet. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe you can explain it better, Max, because I'm too hyped up on sugar, not really water, right now.
Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about
Q5. Why? Yeah, we're talking about Q5 and Q5. Just explain it. So
let me go. So Q5. Obviously, Euros, because we're still living in the fucking 80s where the track changes so much between rounds, we have to rotate the order. So the last round, the top heat starts first, and then it ends on the bottom heat. The top heat runs, the second to best heat runs. They finish, and immediately, Noah Ben Mohammed looks at the screen, which you can see from the driver's stand, sees that he has placed 6th on the round, which is enough for him to make it straight to the A main. Okay, he would have finished 10th place in the A main. Okay, he looks at the screen, sees that his time is good enough, knows that behind him there are not guys finishing that could get by him in any way, not even close. So he celebrates. From what I heard, he kind of jumped up on the driver's stand, took a step back, and then sort of, fell on the ground fell on the back of the driver's stand to sort of, like footballers, they celebrate, like they go on the ground.
Oh, I thought he was smacking the railing.
I guess he did. I don't really know what he did initially.
Well, Bill, did you hear what he did? So we can just confirm what he did.
This is actually the first. I didn't even realize this was actually drama. To be honest with you,
what?
I told you after when I heard like Bruno, when I heard like Bruno was basically dominating, I kind of stopped watching. To be honest.
But this is quality. This is our top skill guy, Max.
So from the thing is like the people I talked to, because Pekko was in that heat.
Okay.
So he said he like started jumping.
Okay.
And then he went to the back of the driver's stand and sort of fell down and, was laying on the ground for a bit just to like take it all in. So after that, he got back up. Referee comes to talk to him and they give him a 3-second penalty. Now, okay.
For over celebrating.
I guess that was. But here's the thing that I did not know and that is not mentioned anywhere. But I got informed by someone who was there that he would have gotten 2 prior warnings for, celebrating on the driver's stand or doing something on the driver's stand, like whatever.
What do you mean he would have got? He had 2 prior warnings?
Well, that's what was said, but like, I don't know where that, like, how to confirm that, because I bet there's nothing to prove that anywhere. So I don't know if that's true. Was it like verbal warnings? Was it like official warnings? What was the offense and so on and so on? But it apparently he had been told about that before. So he had celebrated in a prior qualifier and he had been told about not walking away from the driver's stand, whatever he had done before.
Well, okay. Now we're getting into some stuff that I can relate to. All right, keep going.
Yeah, but that's obviously something that's hard to confirm, but the decision of the referee was that he'd get a 3-second penalty, which knocked him down to 9th on the round, which dropped him away from the A final.
Which allowed
Elias Johansson,
who is Swedish. So here's where the conspiracy theory starts.
Yeah. So
is he Swedish? An AE driver?
A Schumacher driver.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm a bit, like I don't want to be too confident on saying, that he absolutely deserved it. He had gotten warnings and blah, blah, blah. Because I have literally not heard anyone but Schumacher drivers tell me that he had celebrated or had gotten prior warnings or something like that. So obviously there is a bias there.
Right, I get what you mean.
Yeah, so but it's hard to say. I would have to talk to the referee because he'd probably be the only one who would have no skin in the game here.
Well, so for people who I know, like, there's other people driving, right? So if you do stuff like that, you kind of disturb their driver's stand.
And apparently the driver's stand was very weak.
Shaky?
Yeah, it was very shaky. So,
well, I'm kind of 50-50 on it, right? But we don't know all the things, but I think that was, man, of course he's gonna celebrate, right? I mean, Coelho fucking slapped the side of the railing when he won A2. And then I saw the Schumacher guys in the chat. Oh, he needs a penalty or whatever, right? Well, I shouldn't say what happened to his penalty.
Yeah.
But
he's a little bit like, Ben's a little, he's a little kid. Like, you have to understand.
Yeah, he's a young kid. I think he's about 14, 15 maybe.
Yeah, like making I know he's made a Euros A before, but you should also, I think he's got a bit like, got to be realistic as well. Like, I feel like the refs should have showed compassion there because that kid, he worked hard in all his qualifiers to get a stick that last round. You know how much pressure there is to put on yourself, especially as a 14-year-old. But of course, I know I'm just saying this on what I've just learned now. But
I think this has
to. I know.
Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, I know. I think, but I get the refs. They are going to be strict. So I did hear there was another. Maybe I want to ask. Well, maybe Max will know this about. There was one of your Finnish friends. I think he had a situation with the referees as well.
Oh yeah. So maybe
hold on. Before we get into this, let's finish up on Noah Ben Mohammed. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of understand where the referee is coming from on that, but then again, we're going back to some archaic. Like, you're not supposed to walk up the stand when people are driving and all that stuff because you could disturb them and all that stuff. We're talking about a kid who just almost made another A final, right? And you just took all that away from him. How are we promoting? I guess we can say, well, we're teaching them rules, but how are we going to promote this sport, this hobby to people if we fucking well penalize people for celebrating, right? Maybe he went overboard a little bit. Maybe he did. Did his celebration disturb the rest of the drivers? I don't know, but I'll tell you what it sounds like. It sounds like my fucking theory from the very beginning is starting to fucking play out even more and more. That's what I'm going to say. X-Ray versus Schumacher. Who was the referee? A Swedish official referee? Because then the accusation...
Here's again. I don't know who is the referee because it's not stated anywhere who is the official referee except for the team managers meeting, probably, like they've stated it. But apparently, from what I've heard, it was not the Swedish referee.
Okay.
But again, I don't fucking know. I wasn't there.
Not stated his old man thinks it was the Swedish referee that gave it to a Swedish driver. And look, I have nothing against Schumacher at all, right? I just love a good rivalry. And if I see it there and it's smoke there, I'm going to throw gasoline on that shit. And let's dump the whole fucking gasoline. Let's dump a whole 5-gallon thing on this. I think I'm right. You guys are both wrong. I think my theory is right. I think this was a plot from the very beginning. I'm only joking. I don't really think that. But let's move. It's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate, and it's more shellac, more drama, more unnecessary drama coming from an event like this. Now, I would like to hear the other side of the story. I would like to know if he did get some warnings prior to this. So if anybody who was there and knows for a fact that he got warnings for this, please let us message. And if he didn't pay attention to the warnings, then it's on him, right? It's on him.
Yeah, that's kind of because, like, the people who told me don't necessarily have any reason to lie, but the concern I have is how official are those warnings? Like, if it's just that someone next to him said, "Hey, like, don't do that." If it was a referee who said, like, "Hey, wait before everyone's finished," or if it was like, "Hey, don't do that again," warning, So all of those things kind of matter in situations like this, because it's not about, oh, you lose one position. It's like you lose your chance in the A main. Like that's the whole difference here. So it's not like nothing's on stake. So
no, I agree. All right. Yeah. Well, I feel bad for him, but maybe we'll find out the truth. And no, we aren't against Schumacher. We ain't against X-Ray. We're about rivalry. And
should I tell the story?
Yeah, tell the story because we're going to move on to the season after this.
A Finnish driver got actually disqualified for the whole event.
What did he do?
Well, so 4-wheel drive Q1. He got a bit upset because his car didn't work. He went for a stiffer sway bar and wasn't the best tune, so he kind of lost it, threw his car into the fucking back wall of the.
He threw it.
He threw his car into the back wall of the fucking.
Oh, maybe he should have got DQ.
No, that's not why he got DQ. Listen to the end. So he threw his cars into the back wall of the. What is it fucking called? The bleachers. Okay. Yeah. Then went to Marshall. The race director came to talk to him, like, "Hey, don't do this, blah blah blah." And then, like, I still to this day don't know what actually happened, but apparently he showed middle finger. According to him, he showed the middle finger to another Finnish guy who's in his heat because he was teasing him about it. But someone had told the race director that he had showed the middle finger at him when he has his back turned on him. So obviously, that turned into a thing. I don't know what the truth is. Knowing him, he probably showed his middle finger to the race director. So, yeah, after that, he got DQ'd from the whole event. The race director came in with sort of a pep talk, told him, "You got 30 minutes to back your backs and leave the fuck."
No shit.
From this facility. Wow. So after that he went back to the hotel, and this Finnish guy, he's sort of a very typical Finnish person. So all he does is pretty much drink and then throw shit around. So went to the hotel, got drunk, and came back to watch the racing. So yeah, I think that's a historical event in and of itself. That, I mean, let's be honest. If someone had ever had a reason to get DQ'd, it was probably him. I'm not saying, but I think this is sort of a nice addition to these Euros.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap up our Euro recap. Congratulations to Coelho. Congratulations to Orlowski. I don't know. Kind of another lackluster Euros, you know? After
Dude, 10 scale has to fucking change, okay? You like
bump ups.
Bump ups, you have to like something has to be done on to four-wheel drive on carpet, because like it's just an absolutely silly class at the moment, I feel. And then on top of that, I don't know, like, can we at least have some form of enjoyment at these races? Like, I don't want to be like 10. When you go to a 10 scale Euros, it's almost like you're going to a funeral. You know, that's how it feels like. Like nobody's happy. Like nobody's having fun. Everyone's silent. Everyone's sad. And even if you win, you cannot celebrate. So
I remember JQ and his infamous, they sound like vacuum cleaners going around. Will, anything to add?
No fucking wonder 10 scales dying in Europe.
Oof. You agree with him on that, Will?
I think for the sanctioned events, I definitely agree with some of the points that Max makes, because I did hear even when they had the Euros in Holland, I'm sure someone told me that before they were doing one of the A finals, the people standing at the back of the track, they were basically saying, the officials saying, you can't celebrate, you can't cheer, you can't do anything. Yeah. And I think in Neil Cragg's post, Neil went on an absolute rampage. An absolute fair play to Neil, because I feel like if Neil writes something like that, it's
absolutely
that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So,
I agree with you.
So, but I mean, with four-wheel, I feel like there's a problem to it though, because although like if it does sometimes feel like it's not enjoyable to drive, I think just naturally it's gone that way because that's just the only way the cars can literally go faster. So I think it's kind of this weird place of now where like to go faster the cars have to be like this hard to drive. But I would like to see it where maybe, I don't know whether it is a new tire needs to come out, or maybe the cars need some adjusting or something. But you know, I do agree that sometimes four-wheel is really hard to drive and it's just not right, and they are pretty hard. But I mean, yeah, I hope that doesn't sound really bad, but
we need
my radical opinion is we just run two-wheel drive from now on. Fuck four-wheel drive. You know, like personally, I just like that's my. I understand some people disagree with that, but I think like realistically, like fuck four-wheel drive, just run two-wheel drive 10 scale.
That's run short course truck. I love it. It's awesome. And it looks real.
Like rather run stadium track than four-wheel drive. Like at least it's fun. But four-wheel drive, it's just I don't know, racing four-wheel drive against other drivers. It's like every time you get close, you just fucking crash, especially in high grip. Two-wheel drive, you can actually race guys. It requires some skill. Yeah, fuck four-wheel drive.
All right, enough about 10 scale. It's time to talk about really important things now, like my unretirement from silly season and silly season news. And that silly season, we're going to do some factual silly season news right now. Then we're going to get into the gossip. So the actual RC silly news is brought to you by High Tech RC, who just released their DB950 SW and TW servers, brand new servers. The SW has 555 ounces at 6 volts and 7.4. The 950 TW has 402 at 6 volts and 486 ounces at 7.4. They have titanium gears, steel gears, awesome new servers by High Tech. Check them out. The new DB950 SW and the DB950 TW, ideal for all your 8 scale and 10 scale needs. They even have the other ones that are really good. So check them all out. And thank you, High Tech, for all your continued support let's get talking about silly season and what we actually know, because silly season got started last week, and that's what got me going. You know, came out of retirement. I'm here like Tom Brady, you know, leave the New England Patriots, go to my team, Tampa Bay. Yes, I'm a Tampa Bay fan before he was there, and win another Super Bowl so he can have, you know, this hand full. And then I think he has 7, so maybe or 6.
Okay.
So he's got a pinky ring here. So that's me. Silly season. No, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Let me have my time. You know, I'm not going to be long.
Do you think Patrick Mahomes let Tom Brady have his time? Do you think you get the most touchdowns in NFL history?
The people that lose the Super Bowl don't get no time. You know, all the shirts they make when they think they're going to win them, and hats and all that stuff. All that stuff gets thrown away. That's you right now. All that stuff thrown away. I am the champion. I have the Super Bowl, the Lombardi trophy. All my hats and shirts, people are wearing them because we won this Super Bowl. Anyway, I'm back. Silly season's here, and it kicked off with Pretty Ricky Berton. Now this surprised me. That surprised me. I did not think that Pretty Ricky Berton was going to be out at Infinity, especially after making the final at the Worlds. I was honestly shocked, and that's what piqued my interest.
Yeah, and to say this, okay. So let's take a quick look at his post too, because if it wasn't for Ricardo, they would not have made a final at the World. Okay, so like they are not not that good that they can make the final without a guy like Berton. So, and this announcement made on the 1st of October screams that
it was not a good
it wasn't I kind of want to try something else type of leave. It was kind of like, your contract runs out. Yeah, we're doing something else. Fuck you, dude. So I don't know.
I
don't know.
I know what this is all about.
So you have your theories, but
we're going to talk about that in our theories. Our theories. As of now, Ricardo Berton, and I know a lot of Americans are doing him, 2019 European champion, probably one of the best races we've seen, mud and rain, at Hungaroring. Very fast. Used to run Kyosho, was running Infinity. Ran Infinity for about 3 years, I would say. I think he had a good run with Infinity. He won Montpellier.
Yeah.
You know, he won Montpellier this year. I know, Will, this is a little bit out your league, but, you know, this is 8 scale stuff. We haven't really, we haven't really heard no 10 scale news yet.
Welcome to having fun.
And then, of course, this is kind of known, but Jared Wiggins left Nova and is running. He left Nova after Wicked Weekend and has since been running a mysterious silverhead cooling engine that you took pictures of, which we assume is just an OS. So,
well, I actually should check, but I'm pretty sure it was a ProTech engine.
Could be
because I saw Mayfield running a similar style head at some point, if I'm totally wrong. So I think it's a ProTech engine.
Probably Ryan Mayfield's engine.
Yeah. I think it was I think I looked at his car, but I can't now remember, and I don't have the picture on my computer. But yeah, that's what he's running now. I mean, doesn't seem like it was the cleanest of splits between Nova and Wiggins, but I don't think there was much drama either.
No. Wiggins
they had a rough time.
He's not like us.
Wiggins had a rough time with him.
He did.
Flamed out pretty much every race.
He broke that engine quite a bit too. But I know that Nova's working on it. Everything takes time. All right, but those are the two confirmed things that we have going on right now. So silly season has started, but it's still slow. And if you guys know anything about silly season, it's a long haul. It's a long haul. It's not a quick thing. It comes in spurts.
It's kind of like those early December Mondays. Early December Mondays are the days to be awake, Like that's those days where people are like posting pictures with black and white colors and saying that thank you to these guys, but I have new challenges awaiting me. All of that stuff. Mimo buggy is going to be going wild with like roasting 50% off guys about leaving their sponsors. It's fun. Silly seasons. It's silly,
fun. It's a lot
but
of
it's
fun.
fun. You
It's a lot
know,
of fun.
sometimes silly stuff is fun.
All right. Well, let's get into the Hot Race Tires Hot Gossip, brought to you by Hot Race Tires. Thank you, Nicola, for all the support. I think Hot Race might be involved in some silly season as well, because we know guys are going to be switching tire companies as well.
Oh,
but the
we know that they are hiring an American 10-scale driver.
That's right. I
He
know they are
already
hiring
told
an
us,
American
but he
10-scale
didn't-
driver.
But he didn't tell us who. But he
Yeah,
told
we're
us
going to start off the Hot Race Hot Gossip with that hot take. We do know that's actual fact. We do know that he's going to sign a 10-scale American driver because they're working on slicks and carpet tires. We're going to save my theories for last, but we're going to talk about things that both you and I have heard. Maybe Will hasn't heard this here, but let's talk about the situation at Infinity, because we heard a lot of this at the Worlds. We talked about it on show 297, but now it starts to be seen. It seems to be ramping up now with the departure of Ricardo Berton. So the rumors are that Coelho is going to Infinity, but he's going to Infinity because he wants to just race on-road. So that's an important point because it leaves the door open for OfRoad Racer, which I will cover in my theory. So we also heard that Bruno and Monaco RC are maybe in talks about developing a 10-scale touring car platform. Now we've heard this from a couple people. Now we heard about the rumors.
Let me rephrase that. So, the owner of or creator or whatever, the person behind Monaco RC, he used to be Bruno's longtime mechanic.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He used to be his longtime mechanic for 10 scale on road, running for X-Ray. You know, they both were on X-Ray, and he was his mechanic. But since then, Monaco RC has kind of separated from X-Ray. I don't think he even is part of X-Ray anymore, like in any way. Monaco RC sells automatics. They sell the RC Maker car. And yeah, they sell Elseram also, but they sell, before they kind of was only X-Ray. Now they're a larger variety of on-road cars.
Okay.
So some people have theorized that Bruno could be creating an on-road car just with him, which I highly doubt would be the case, because that would require quite a bit of money, which I don't know if he has, but I don't really see being worthwhile, because there's quite a big variety of cars out there in the market. But if it was the case, because that, what, like you said, Bruno likes to on-road, but he especially likes nitro on-road.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing of, Hagberg is a world champion in 10 scale nitro on-road. Bruno is a European champion, but since Infinity joined ENS, or in general, Infinity started in RC,
mm-hmm.
X-Ray made a strict decision that they will not be sending drivers to nitro on-road races. So they basically
predominantly 8-scale races though, and 10-scale.
Any nitro on-road.
Well, Hootie goes to GT races all the time, and Martin Beyer.
Yeah. I mean, Hootie goes, but that's just like they make the cars, they race the class, but they don't send any pro drivers to these races,
which is a shame.
So yeah, but they kind of, that was the strict decision they made. So they don't send pro drivers to those races anymore. And from my understanding, Bruno's sort of favorite classes are on-road nitro classes, perhaps electric on-road. I don't necessarily know, but I'd imagine his least favorite classes are electric off-road.
And 8-scale nitro.
I don't know if he dislikes 8-scale nitro off-road.
I think he likes it, but he prefers on-road. It's like,
yeah.
And let's be honest, Infinity has good money. They can pay these guys. He can pay them a good wage. He can probably go off into the sunset on his career.
So this is kind of the thing. Coelho made a long-term deal with X-Ray back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely, his stock has gone up since,
mm-hmm.
and he probably thinks that he could make more money
mm-hmm.
elsewhere in general, but definitely at Infinity. Taking into account his preference for classes, all the classes he would like to run, Infinity has the most sort of interest in. And taking into this theory of Monaco RC working for a touring car, Infinity has an electric touring car, but it's like badly outdated. So instead of building a new brand, making an undercar, they could, in theory, just update the Infinity car. Now, if you put all of these things together, this rumor of Coelho joining Infinity does not sound unlikely at all.
But there's a caveat.
There's a caveat, and I know this is what you're going to say, which I disagree of, but you're going to say this.
So here's my theory on Infinity. I don't think Bruno... So Infinity is going to need a top 8-scale driver that is world-renowned, that can win races. We know for a fact that Infinity came into the 8-scale Nitro touring car world and paid a lot of money to guys like Dario Balastri, these type of guys. We know that because also the owner of Infinity is a big fan of on-road racing, right?
Yeah.
So they have the money. You see, this is why you fail at silly season. You fail to put things together like I do. So who was practicing in Italy at the Ongaro ring before the Worlds? Come on, say it. Who?
I know.
Mato and look, Will's getting bored. He's getting bored.
The whole Infinity team. It was the whole Infinity team.
Okay, so the whole Infinity team was at Ongaro's track practicing for the World Championships. We know last year Ongaro was shopping. He didn't feel like he was getting his worth. Here's my put on your tinfoil hats.
What you mean we know?
Sorry. Allegedly, he was looking around. I heard this from multiple people. He was looking around last year. I think when he won the World Championships in Arizona, that was like, okay, we got to pay you or whatever, right? Ongaro, this could possibly happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but check this scenario. Ongaro goes to Infinity to become their driver. He's getting paid. Now he's a 3-time world champion in 8-scale, a 1-time world champion. He's a current four-wheel drive and 8-scale champion, back to back to back. He's saying, you don't agree with me, but if I'm Ongaro, I'm like, pay me. I want to make as much money as possible. And R2's right there in Italy, so it's an easy transition. He could do the same thing he did with Matrix. I'm not saying this is going to happen this year. I'm not saying this is going to happen this year.
Yeah.
But it could possibly happen next year. But think about the scenario. If I'm Infinity, that's what I'm doing. I'm going after Ongaro. He's the best right now in 8-scale. I'm going for him. Just a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but my brain's thinking like that. All right. Enough about Infinity. Because
wait, Keenan. I'm gonna give you a layup here. Do you know who is Matrix #1 on-road guy?
Dario Balastri.
Yep.
Ooh, and we didn't even talk about forgot. Before we get into other rumors, where do I think Barton goes? So here's where I've been really thinking. HP, Agama, Mayako. Why would he go HP? If I'm HP, I'm restructuring my team. Good choice to get Breton. And I'm in Europe. They need a good driver in Europe that goes to America that races. Agama needs the same thing. Mayako needs a racer that can go to Europe and to America to do well. Not saying that Robert can't do it, but we know Robert's coming to the end of his career. So those are my 3 possibilities. And then Kyosho. Remember, he left Kyosho. He wanted to get paid from Kyosho, I think it was. They refused to pay him. Kyosho's in a better position nowadays. Maybe he goes back to Kyosho with Ogo tires because Kyosho Europe is also the distributor of Ogo tires. So that's a possibility. Or maybe he goes chassis free for a year and runs whatever he wants. He can do it. We know why he can do it because he comes from an affluent home. So that's possible reasons for Breton. There's all viable reasons. There's all viable situations.
I know you think you're Tom Brady, but you just basically played your 8th ball in, and you still haven't thrown it. So, which one is gonna be?
I just threw out the possible possibilities that he could go to and why he would. I don't know which one he's going to. I don't know. I don't have a clue.
Realistically, he could go anywhere.
I don't think he go in. Or maybe TLR makes another push in New York. Ooh, that just came to my brain. Anyway, we don't know where Berton's going. Those are all possible theories that he can go. Also, with Ongaro, that's possible theories. The Bruno thing, though, is something that is got some weight behind it with the move to Infinity. But your next question, you and Will were trying to get this out of me, trying to get all this secret information out of me. Let's go across the pond to America. I think that Dakota Fenn's time at TLR is over. My sources
put that on the notes.
My source. I didn't want to put my notes.
I don't want it on the notes.
Yeah, you put it in notes, but I have said this for years, for a while now.
You have said it for years, and he's still at TLR. This is how good you are at silly season.
No. When is the time going to come that he leaves? We know what's going on. Look, Thomas Trajan's gone. He probably saved TLR the last few years. We know that TLR is run by Horizon. Please don't send us a C&D. Run by Horizon. We know that the whole team, the whole thing, the restructuring, all that stuff, a lot of things are going of tightened up. They tighten up the bootstraps on the racing program. But not only do I think he's going to there, my sources tell me he was out testing this weekend with Paul Ciccarello.
Really?
Didn't I say this would be a place he could go? AE or X-ray, but it looks like it's going to be X-ray.
So, okay. Where does Paul live?
This was in Ohio, apparently.
He lives in Ohio, right?
No, I think Paul lives in Ohio. Look, I'm confused.
No, Dakota.
No, he lives in Indiana, I think. I could be confused. Michigan, I don't know. Listen, why don't you? What my sources tell me that he was testing.
Is this like a fact?
Yes.
Okay.
Seen.
Out in the open. Running an X-ray.
Not out in the open, but out in a fucking private test session with Paul Ciccarello of X-ray, which makes perfect sense because X-ray is the company that can pay him what he wants, and X-ray wants to win in America. 8 scale and 10 scale.
I think that is like that would be what X-ray is looking for. So
yes.
what they wanted from Testament, okay? They wanted a guy who can win in 10 scale off-road and 8 scale off-road.
Mm-hmm.
They have decent guys in on-road, and on-road arguably isn't that big of a market in America.
Mm-hmm.
So they
have their X-ray guys in America for that.
Yeah, and they have like can't remember his name now, but they have this one guy. What the hell is his name? Donor guy.
Sam No, not Sam Isaacs. In America?
Yeah, they have this on-road guy, touring guy, who won their own acts too. Why don't I remember his name?
I can't remember his name at this point. But anyway, we're not talking about on-road. We're talking off-road. Let's keep on subject.
They have Chase Lemieux in 10 scale, but we talked about this.
Yes,
we talked about this last year that they need someone.
Fend
Fend is the perfect fit. So like if X-ray is like, hey, we need a guy in America, Fend is the guy.
Yeah,
you know?
That's who I'd take. And pair him back up with Cavallari. TLR.
Yeah. But I mean, what you mean? They would hire Cavallari?
No, I don't think if they hire Fend, they will need to hire Cavallari.
Yeah, I think Cavallari is going to be Schumacher only from now on.
Okay, that's possible. But this is, look, my sources say that he was out testing X-ray. Now, is he going to go X-ray? I don't know. But I heard that he was out testing X-ray. And I think if I'm Dakota Fend, I'm testing. I think Dakota Fend's. Hold on, listen.
This is like a private track, right?
I assume. I assume.
Okay.
I don't know.
How reliable are your sources?
Look. Look. Don't try to look. Don't try to get in my
listen to me.
Don't try to get.
Last year you was cooking the books. You was cooking the books last year. You have to admit it. You was cooking the books.
If people tell me stuff, how is that cooking the books?
That is cooking the books.
No, people tell me stuff because they want me to say it.
This year, I want to get to the bottom of all this. You know.
Look, man, I am the king of silly season. Just drop it. Just accept. You are not the professor of silly season. Okay. But seriously, I'm not joking. This is what I was told recently. like a couple
No,
of
but
days ago.
I mean, to be honest, from the point of view of X-Ray, this is all they want.
This is the
okay?
best choice for them.
Yeah. From the point of view of Fend, money is all he needs. He has good cars from TLR. He's happy, most likely, with his 8-scale car. He's competitive with his 8-scale car. He has a good full drive. He has a good tool drive. He has everything he needs from TLR except for money. Right?
Because we heard Barry say one time that Horizon doesn't pay him enough. He will get more somewhere else. And to be honest,
obviously, yeah, that's 100%. Like Horizon has no incentive to pay him a lot.
He's been with TLR since he was 8. You know, maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's like I'm just over this, right? Maybe it's over all the corporate bureaucracy and bullshit that I'm sure he has to deal with, right? Because let's be honest, Fend was at his best recently when Barry was in his corner at races, helping him out.
Yeah, imagine him and Paul Ciccarello.
I think Paul's look. I don't know if he's getting X-ray, but I think Fend can go anywhere he wants right now. I think he's the
100%.
one driver that can go anywhere he wants and get paid.
But
and Ongaro.
But I want to say this though. Like realistically, if we think of like, let's ignore this testing X-ray thing. Like, let's think from
it's the logical place to go. There are AE.
But like let's look at from Fend's point of view. So you're in America. You have 3 classes that you consistently run, which is 2 classes basically. So 10 scale off-road and 8 scale off-road. Nothing else. That's all you run. Okay. S-Works already has a full 8 scale team with top drivers and a lot of them, and their 10 scale is somewhat lacking in America. But you don't really have any space in that team unless they would kick some people out. Okay. Then the other option would be Techno, but they don't have 10 scale. So I think that's out of the window. And they have Mayfield. So I think Techno is not an option realistically.
The only other option is AE in my book. And they are ram-packed with Ongaro, Rivkin.
No, but here's the issue. Here's the issue with AE. Rivkin and Fend are not going to be get along. Like if Champlin and Rivkin was too much, what is Fend and Rivkin gonna be? Like there's
2 alpha males, like two fast alpha males.
Yeah, and then the thing is like Rivkin has been adopted as the #1 American AE driver. Like anywhere he goes, he gets the most priority from AE, even over Ongaro at times, you know? So this is the biggest issue for AE. So that would require AE to be like, okay, we can have Fend, but we need to let Rivkin go.
So where would Rivkin go?
And I don't think, that's the only option. So basically, Rivkin would have to settle for less.
Well, X-ray.
Maybe
Rivkin goes to X-ray.
Oh yeah, Rivkin would go to X-ray, but that would be this is the sort of long shot that you kind of
This is where we're. So this is where I'm going, but I do think that we are. I feel like I've heard these rumors. You know, I mean, it's been with TLR for such a long time, right? But we know the direction. Like we kind of see the direction that TLR is going a little bit. Like, I mean, look at their team at the Worlds. It was minute. And he'll have more support. Like, you know what I mean? He's pretty much been, yes, he has TLR engineers and stuff, but he's the top driver at TLR. He's been the top driver for many, many years, right? And he's still, I just think maybe he needs a refresh. Maybe he needs, if he's not making the money that he feels to be making, he needs to make that. Maybe his schedule's going to be a little bit better. You know what I mean? As well. And because he does have a wife, and you know, life starts happening. He's getting older. Maybe a family is something he wants to start. All that type of stuff too. So I think right now is the time that Fend makes a change in his career. He wants a world championship. He has not been able to get it yet with TLR. So I think that's what happens. Will, any thoughts on what we just said? Yeah. I'm sorry. Will's been quiet. He's getting bored.
Yeah, let's give Will, because we've been going on our
And we're gonna wrap
tinfoil
this up
hat
soon.
mode.
We're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
To be fair, all those rumors, I would have never actually thought about. I always thought Bruno was pretty set with X-Ray. Like,
Me
I feel
too.
like he would have no I mean, obviously, unless it is true. Like, from my side, I don't think he would have any reason to leave. Like, because he's with a European company and he's pretty like, okay, like Portugal and Slovakia is probably airplanes ride journey, but X-Ray had the capabilities to like develop cars really quick. So like that, you can. So even I don't want to say that. I know sometimes X-Ray go through points where let's say another car's better or whatever, but like it always seems like because they have the development and the facilities, they can do a lot there, which has seemed to be the case. Like their 4-wheel, like especially for that Euros, looks like that's definitely going to be something like it felt like the other manufacturers were starting to pick up, and then now the 4-wheel seems like be coming back. And so I'll first say that's with Bruno. I'll say with Dakota, that's another shot because even when I was growing up, all I've ever known is Dakota race with TLR. So, but it sounds plausible. Like it kind of seems the way TLR's going, especially with Horizon. I don't mean that. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but with them tightening up, I guess naturally, like even if you were in a job and a company was tightening up, you would maybe look at other options. Like, but I mean, obviously, I don't know Dakota or TLR or Horizon's situation, so, and I also do not want to get a CMD, so I don't know.
I'll be honest with you.
Can I touch on that?
I just want to say something. You can touch on it. I think Coelho leaving X-Ray is more amazing to me than Fenn leaving TLR, because Coelho has seen countless world championships, European championships, and various different classes of X-Ray. But I think it comes down to this. I think it comes down to one thing: infinity money, right? And I don't know if X-Ray can match that. I mean, they probably could, but when you got the money, you throw it out there, and that man, if you're gonna make like double what you're making or whatever, and like it looks comfortable and your schedule's better, and you're gonna go for that. All right, Max, let's go on this. Then I'm gonna have a few things that I'm gonna say, and then we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of wrap the Fend thing up. So from Fend's point of view, I actually think that if he wants to leave TLR, X-Ray is the only real possibility for him, unless the brands are willing to shift their team massively. Techno's not gonna give up on Mayfield, and they don't have a 10 skill car.
Mm-hmm.
S-Works would have to kick at least one or two of the drivers to afford Fend or have a space for Fend.
And their 10 skill car needs work on dirt.
Yeah, and their 10 skill car needs work. Yeah. Associated, they would have to switch him for Rifkin.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to happen. Then obviously you could have some far-fetched ideas of, he's going to run Schumacher, and then he's going to have not going to happen. They already have Cavalieri at Schumacher. I don't feel like they really can afford Fend, and I don't think they really need Fend. Yeah, I don't really think they need Fend. And then who 8-scale only brand would go for Fend unless it was someone who just wants
like Mugen.
To win? No, Mugen doesn't have the money.
All right, but they have a 10-scale car.
Yeah, and they have a 10-scale car. So it would have to be someone like Drake vouching for Mugen America, having this big, like, hey, we're going to make this a thing, having Fend on board. No, not going to happen.
I don't see that happening.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. So X-Ray is realistically the only chance for him if he wants to leave TLR. And now the thing is, why would he leave TLR? He would leave TLR for more money. Okay, makes sense. But where would this leave TLR? Because realistically, who are you going to get for even the same amount of money as Fend is making now, who's even close to his level? Absolutely no one. Absolutely no one.
Yes, you will. You'll get one of these drivers who are on their way out of RC.
But why would you do that? They already had Cavalieri, and
because they can still bring some value to the team, and they'll focus on Taylor. If that's what I'm doing, if I'm TLR.
Okay, but here's the thing. They tried that already with Cavallari. They tried to have.
Yeah, but Tater was not at the level that he's at now. He wasn't a world champion. He's calmed down. You know, we all know Tater had a bad pass. He's grown up. He's still a little awkward, but he's 17 now. He's you know, he's still young. He has a career in front of him. So maybe TLR gets a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a older driver, maybe, you know, that can test. Like Joe Bornhorst. What if they got a Joe Bornhorst? Something like that.
Okay, but Joe Bornhorst has clearly been very committed to S-Works.
But S-Works has a huge team.
No, but he's
in America. And you have Brandon Rose who's doing well. You have Mason Fuller. That's really all they need. They have Camden Line.
Joe's not at S-Works to be a driver, I don't feel.
Exactly feel like why I think he'll be a good fit for the TLR. Take Tater, like help develop cars because he's good at testing. He's good. He's puts in the work like that. You know, he's done a lot of that with S-Works. But S-Works is going to come to the point where they're going to say, okay, we don't need a big team like that. We got Fuller and we got Rose. Those guys are constantly in the top 5s, top 3s at these world. Yes, Bornhorst is making these as well, but it comes down to money, right? It comes down to money and how much you're going to spend. That's just an off theory. That actually just came up in my brain while we was talking about this. So that's how silly season works. So you got to look for all clues, Max. But
yeah, but I want to say this clearly. I do think if Fenn leaves TLR, they are going to maintain Tater for a little bit. But I do believe Tater will be snatched soon unless he goes with Fenn. It's not completely impossible that you're going to have Tater and Fenn going to X-Ray for next year.
Could be, but I think that X-Ray has a good solid base with Lemieux and Rinderneck there as well. Even though Rinderneck doesn't work for X-Ray, I think he still works for R1.
Sure, but I mean, think of it in a way of TLR losing all of their market value at one go, losing their team manager and 2 of their best drivers, and then 2 of their best drivers go to X-Ray. So, like, think of it from X-Ray's point of view. Like, don't you think that you could snatch that whole market in one fell swoop?
Yes, you could. Yes, you could. It'd be a great, expensive business move. I'm going to wrap up silly season. I haven't really heard much thing. I have heard that I do think that this year we'll see some drivers that are going to depart RC. Like, you know, they're just not going to be able to get this. Oh, great. My electricity goes off right as I'm finishing this. I don't think they're going to be able to. I just think that market's shrinking, right? That market of having a whole bunch of big teams and all that stuff. So I think we're going to see teams are expanding. I mean, look at Associated. Associated is got a whole bunch of drivers in the USA. You look over Europe and the old talent they have over there coming up, 10 skill wise, you know, Carap and all this. Carap and these guys are going to get paid at some point, right? And Associate's going to have to make a decision on that type of stuff. I think we're in for a very weird, silly season this silly season. My feelings feel like it's going to be weird. I know, Max, you think I'm crazy, but you just watch. You just watch. Time to start really delving in deep in my theories and looking for clues. But I do think that Fenn is out at TLR next year. And I do think Coelho, and then Coelho, if it's true about Coelho going to Infinity, this fits right in. Even though I know X-Ray USA, X-Ray America, and X-Ray over there's a little bit different.
Okay, but think of it this way. Obviously, X-Ray's on-road team is going to get significantly weaker.
Yes. Who takes over that? Runafault.
Yeah. So that would have to be Hagberg stepping up and then Runafault sort of stepping in for Hagberg.
No, Runafault. No. Runafault goes to the top and on-road. And Hagberg stays in support role. Yes.
You think that would be? It's possible, but I think, okay, if you look at this year's 8-scale results, Runafault and Bruno have been incredibly closely matched. So my argument would be that X-Ray is happy with Runafault's performance so far this year. On-road wise, I don't see Runafault stepping up to Coelho level, but I don't see that being too far-fetched, what you suggested. And then if they would have Fenn, I think if they let Coelho go and they have Runafault and Fenn, they're going to actually have a stronger team than they have before. Because Ronald sort of the lead in Europe, which gives him a boost of confidence, and then Fend is the lead in America instead of having two guys in Europe. So I think X-rays wise, actually, if they have Fend, letting Bruno go makes sense.
I think so. Well, with Will, you are tired. It's 7 o'clock here, so it's what, 1 o'clock there. Thank you, Will, for hanging in with us. Thank you, Max. It's like what, 3 o'clock in the morning there. 2:15. I want to thank you guys for hanging in. Like I said, once silly season starts going, that's when things ramp up. It's just October, people. It's just October. But I am hearing rumblings. I'm hearing lots of rumblings, but I just don't want to comment on them yet. I have to get my sources in order, Max. But I will defeat you, and I'm not worried about that. So
he's cooking, but only the books. I'm actually cooking. You're just cooking the book.
Anyway, thank you guys for the Euros recap. Thank you guys for the silly season recap. Once we know more information, we'll post on that. Thank you to all the patrons who are going to listen to this first. If you want to support the podcast, come over, be a patron. It helps us out a lot. We greatly appreciate it. I want to say a big shout out to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We greatly appreciate your support, as well as the patrons and YouTube members. If you wish to join, we have links for that in the written description. A big shout out to all these companies that support us. We have links and coupon codes for them. Don't forget KLINIK RC, NNRC, 20% off for the month of October. Go over there, support KLINIK RC. You support the podcast as well. Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Course Attack USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, KLINIK RC, Stacked RC, Racecraft USA. Shout out to our drivers, David Ronafelt, Robert Battier, Alexander Hagberg, Matty G, Pecco, Evenin, Unihattan, Mason Fuller. Shout out to our sponsor affiliates, RC Box Club, Call RC, Elite RC Productions, Florida RC Championships, RC Body Armor, House of RC, 36 Mood, and RC Sign Up. Will, thank you for joining us. You are a champ. You did 4 hours today. Well done. I know you're tired.
Okay.
We
it
look
wasn't
forward.
as bad as Buggy Land.
No, that was long. Dude, that was long. Thanks for joining us, Will. We look forward to having you on the team in 2025, and I think this will be good for you. He's going to get a nice mic and all that stuff. He's going to have a nice studio set up. He's not going to be in the forest like Max. And Max, thank you for making these podcasts go over the time limit. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, people love it. I remember all those comments that told you that don't worry about Keenan. We want you to go on. There's plenty.
Gotcha.
I can see the messages on our Facebook too. So
yeah, and guess what? You don't see the messages that I get, but you totally redeemed yourself. You totally redeemed yourself at the Worlds.
Yeah, what can I do when people love me?
And love to hate you.
Yeah.
Hey, Max, Lefty, Will, Max, Nitro's the glory. Will's got a Nitro car in the back there. He's probably going to be a Nitro guy after this. There we go. I thank you guys for your joining. Thank you guys for the support. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members and everybody that supports us. Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Lefty, Max, and Will are out. We'll see you all later. Time to hit that intro.